Amen. The king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried and a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? And Daniel then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angels. My God has sent his angels and have shut the lion's mouth, and they have not hurt me. For as much as they as before him intercessory was found in me. Innocence was found in me, and also before thee, O king, I have done no hurt. May I, God, add a blessing to the readers, hearers, and doers of his most holy word. If I had to put a title on this text, I would simply say, learning how to deal with your lion den situation.
Amen.
In life, sometimes we're going to find ourselves faced with trials and tribulations, not due to things that we've done, not due to things that we've said, not due to things that have anything really to do with us, other than the fact that God has put favor on us. Sometimes we will see ourselves in situations because someone else has an issue with what we're doing. Someone else does not like you because you have a gift, and God is using that gift to empower his people. Sometimes people will not like you because you're encouraging other people, because you're an example of what God has sent you to be an example of, and the people around you are saying, hey, I'm not feeling this, I'm not feeling that. Why is he getting more praise? Why is he getting more attention? Why is he getting this, and why are they getting that? When the reality of it is, why are you not doing better?
Wow.
We have to look at the reality that everybody's just not going to like you. And although they may smile in your face, although they may tell you, hey, I got your back, although they may be the ones to say, you're my buddy, my pal, my roadie, that can be the same individual that turns around and stabs you in the back. That can be the same person that tells you, that does you wrong and creates some kind of situation that causes you to fall out of your circumstances. If we look at the text, the Bible says that the presidents, that Daniel and the rest of the presidents, and read the whole chapter, that Daniel and the rest of the presidents were doing the king's will. Mm-hmm. They were doing what Darius wanted them to do. The kingdom was flourishing, the kingdom was doing things, but Daniel was apparently doing things in a way that was exceedingly and abundantly greater than the rest. And the same people who were on the same level as Daniel felt some kind of way because the king had an affection for Daniel. The king loved Daniel. The king respected Daniel. The king felt that Daniel was who he needed to put in position to do bigger and better things. And sometimes when you get elevated to other levels, the people around you are not going to appreciate you. If you look at the text, the Bible says that the presidents decided we're going to start something, we're going to create the situation, we're going to go to the king and have him create a decree. Now, here's the issue. You are doing what God has told you to do. Let me get on the street now. You're doing what God told you to do. You're doing the will of God. And all of a sudden, everything around you starts to shift. Not because of you're doing wrong, but simply because you're following your calling. Mm-hmm. The Bible tells us that Darius was tricked into creating a decree unbeknownst to him simply because Daniel was doing his will. Mm-hmm. Daniel, the Bible says, then they said, these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Mm-hmm. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said this unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom and the governors and the princes and the councils and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make the firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, say they, O king, basically saying except for the king. If they ask anybody else but the king, or praise anybody but the king, they shall be cast in the lion's den. He ain't did nothing to nobody. They couldn't find fault in him, so let's figure out. But they knew he had a faith that would not be moved. They knew he had a faith that would be shaken. And one of the things you have to come to understand is when you are trying to learn how to deal with your lion den situation, the first thing you have to do is realize that every time you're in a lion den situation, it may not be your fault. You may not be doing anything wrong. So just understand that you are a child of God, and people that don't like you are going to find fault in you because you are doing His will. You have to keep strong and keep faithful to the fact that they are going to find things to ways and try to destroy you.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to just realize the haters are there.
Yes.
Accept the haters, love the haters, and move on. Because when you try to fight the haters, you only end up becoming one. Let things go and understand that God has a purpose for you.
Yes.
They said that they got the king to write a decree that if anybody worships, asks, petitions, or does anything to anyone other than the king, now the king ain't knowing that they really trying to set Daniel up.
Right.
And sometimes you got to realize they don't. The people that they're asking to do something against you, they may not know that it's really against you. They might not understand that somebody is plotting against you. You have to realize that you can't be mad at the person that did it,
right,
because they may not know what they did.
Right.
So they asked him to set this decree. But then the Bible says that Daniel would pray every day. They said these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplications before his God. Now, why are you even at my house? Be honest. Why? They asked. See, here's the thing. Even though they made the decree, everybody knew it. Daniel, they also knew that Daniel would do what Daniel is supposed to do. Daniel is going to stay being Daniel. That's good news for y'all today. Because even though the haters are going to do what they do, even though the people that's against you are going to do what they do, the next thing you have to do is learn to deal with your Daniel, your lion's den situation, is understand that you have to continue being who God has created you to be.
Amen.
You have to stay in your situation. You have to stay understanding that God has created you to do something. He has called you to do something. You have to be faithful to God. That means I have to pray when you tell me don't pray. I have to worship when you tell me don't worship. They tell us at school, they tell us you don't talk about God at school. They tell us you don't talk about God at work. But you want to talk about the president, you want to talk about politics, you want to talk about everything else but your soul. When are we as Christians going to stop allowing them to tell us to stop talking about God?
Wow.
And stop wasting our time talking about things that have nothing to do with God? Because if you have faith, nothing Trump can do can affect you.
Amen.
Nothing that the government, if you have faith and trust in God, the government shutdown does not apply to you.
Wow.
Because although the government shut down, you're still surviving.
Amen.
Although the government shut down, you're still eating. Although the government shut down, you're still making weight. Think about it. All the people who the government shutdown affected were still able to get food because the people of God came together as a unity and fed them. People of God, see, here's the thing. You think that it was the people, but you got to realize that feeling to do comes from somewhere.
Amen.
And it comes from God. It didn't come from man. You got to understand, God would use an infidel to get his will across.
That's right.
The God would use a non-believer to get his will across.
That's right.
You have to just trust that God is going to do what God is going to do. And the people that say, I don't believe in God the most, will be the biggest blessing. Not because they don't believe because they don't want to believe, but simply because they don't understand that God is going to use you to bless somebody else, to show you that he got you to do his will, whether you believe in him or not.
That's right.
You have to just remember to stay faithful in your will. Like I said, the Bible says that these men assembled outside of Daniel's house, watching him pray. He is at home. He is minding his business, doing what he wants to do, doing what he has to do, praising his God. And they are sitting here trying to downgrade him, belittle him, and snitching on him. But the interesting thing about it was, when they went to the king, now this is the reality of the king signed a decree, which means he couldn't go back on it. He couldn't take it back. It was what it was. He had to do what he had to do. But that did not stop the king from trying to find a way, a loophole around it. The Bible says the King Darius was spent the entire day trying to find a way to take back what he did, to help save Daniel, to help free Daniel from the situation that he found himself in. And then the people, the king, the presidents and the princes and all the people decided, we're going to bug the king and tell him, hey, now you didn't set the decree. You didn't set the situation, you didn't set the stage. So I need you to follow through. I need you to go and end this situation. I need you to go and kill him. Put him in their lion's den. Isn't it interesting how even when the enemy tries to do something to you, they still have to get permission to make it happen? They still have to get permission to put you in the situation. They still had to get the king's permission. Even though he had a law, they still couldn't touch him without the king's permission. But, and one might think, okay, well, why did the king let him go? One might say, well, the king put him in the lion's den. Well, the king did what he was supposed to do. The king did what was obligated to do. But you have to understand that God had a bigger purpose. See, the king put him in there into the lion's den. But God wanted to prove a point. God wanted to show that even though you put him in this situation, that's mine. And with him being mine, I'm going to lead God and protect him at all costs. The Bible says that Daniel put into the lion's den, but they got put into the lion's den, and the king paced all night. He didn't eat. See, the enemy was plotting, and they were happy. Yeah, Daniel's in the lion's den, he's gonna die. The king is stressing. The king is not happy right now. He's misunderstood. He's confused. He's hurt because he had to do this. But what I want you to understand is that everything that the king did, although was not what he wanted to do, was for the ultimate plan. See, when he was put into the lion's den, God was trying to show you that even though you're in this dark situation, even though you're in this unfortunate situation, this trial, this tribulation, you're hurt, you're busted, you're disgusted, you're drowned, you're struggling, and you're finding yourself in a place that is unbecoming of a child of God. Just remember that the final thing you have to do is keep your faith.
Amen. Through
all your trials and tribulations, you have got to keep your faith. The first thing you have to do is remember that everything you go through is not because of you. The second thing you just do is continue to worship God the way you're supposed to worship God, even when there are things against you and things put against you, told that you can't worship God the way you want to.
Amen.
You keep doing what God has called you to do anyway. Amen. And the last thing you need to remember is at the end of the day, keep your faith. Yes. The Bible says that Daniel was put into the lion's den, and God made the lions not hungry. He closed their mouth. That no harm came to Daniel. No harm came to him because he had done nothing wrong. And when you have done nothing wrong, nothing that happens to you will work to destroy you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Yes. That all things you go will work for the good of the Lord. You must trust and believe that God is going to make a way out of no way. Yes. He's going to make a way when things don't seem right. The Bible goes on to say that Darius came and called Daniel's name. And he came out of there. unharmed, unhurt, untampered with. But then the Bible goes on to say that King Darius sent the people that accused Daniel. I make a decree that in every dominion he made. Oh, then the king commanded that they that brought those men, that they brought the men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them in the lion's den. Them, their children, their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and broke all their bones in pieces on every they came at the bottom of the den. Translation: they were destroyed before they hit the floor. The lions hadn't eaten them; their mouth was closed. But before they even hit the floor, they were already destroyed. God will take your enemies and destroy them without you lifting a finger.
Wow.
You don't have to fight your battle.
That's
It's not
right.
your job. Your job is to love people. Your job is to show them who God is and
Yes.
continue living the will of God. Your job is not to fight battles that are not yours. I want to thank God today because it wasn't just the men who did things that weren't right. Because if you look a few thousand years later, when Jesus came into the scene,
Yes.
he had a confidant, a treasure, somebody who was supposed to be his friend, that betrayed him,
Yes.
that sold him out. One might think that was wrong. One might think that it was foul. One might think that how can you call yourself a friend and betray him at the same time? You walked with him for 3.5 years. You talked with him. You studied under him. And then you sold him out for 30 pieces of silver. But here's the thing. Some things have to happen so Christ, so God can show that his who power really it is.
Yes.
God wanted to show them, I have the ultimate power. I have the ultimate goal. How did he want to show him? Because when they betrayed him, they went ahead and took him on a hill called Calvary.
Yes.
Stretched him wide and hung him high.
Yes.
And that's when he made his life and died. The early Sunday morning he got up with all power in his hands. Not because he was unable to do it, not because it had to be done, but because without that happening, we would not be in existence.
Yes.
Without that happening, we wouldn't be here today. Without that happening, we wouldn't move. Without that happening, we wouldn't be able to grow. Without
Yes.
that happening, the veil would not have been cut, and we would not have a direct connection with God.
Yes.
It had to happen, and God had to prove a point. Understand that no matter what you're going through, it may not have been your fault. No matter what you're going through, you must continue worshiping God. No matter what you're going through, you must keep the faith.
Yes.
Christ did it all and he showed how to do it. He's continued to worship God. He continued to be who he needed to be.
Yes.
And he continued to have faith.
Yes.
Even at the end, he said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. He continued to have his faith and trusted in God will bring him back. Trust and believe who God is and he's going to make a way out of no way.